Hello there. So, for years and years, I'm hearing this debate between science and the Bible and religion and all that stuff. And I try not to care about it that much. When I was more secular, I cared about the idea that evolution was real and the Big Bang was real and all that stuff. And I did whatever research I could on it. And I found that it makes it's the most logical explanation we have. It's the most reasonable explanation we have based on all the evidence. That's what I concluded and believe that to make sense. Ultimately, though, you can't know. Ultimately, it is a theory, and you can't know. So when you're having debates, you're having arguments, you're having discussions, you're having whatever it is, you want to define your terms. You want to define what you're talking about. So the question is, what is science? Science is knowledge for everything we can know. That's what science is. You figure things out, you test things, you study things, you do whatever. You find how it works. It does what it does. You mix some chemicals together, it explodes or does whatever it does, and it proves. You get the results, you get the evidence, and you find what it is to be factual. And whatever it is that you follow through with that you find, this is all science. If I decide I'm going to take, I don't know, Play-Doh and put a match in it, and then I'm going to throw it on the ground, and that's my test for if it's going to make a fire or not, and it doesn't make a fire, then there's nothing scientific about it, even if I did it in a lab. Um, and if I say it's a scientific theory, and I believe it to be true, once I throw it on the ground and it doesn't blow up, it doesn't turn to a fire, you know it's not true, right? And you don't even need to do that to know that. We're a little smarter than that. But to say something you can't know is science because scientists decided it is because they decided, well, we're doing these tests and we believe these tests to be true. They make sense based on the fact that the results are always the same. Therefore, it must be true. But we really can't know. That's the truth. So, the truth of the matter is, science being the knowledge for things you can know, something that you can't know is not science. That's the reality of the situation. I'm sorry to break it to all you scientists and atheists out there that believe this. This is the reality. If you can prove me wrong, I'm open to being proven wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, it is not science. It is a theory. They are theories made by scientists. That doesn't make them science because you don't really know. When science, by definition, it means knowledge to be able to prove things to be true. The conclusion is knowledge that you cannot. It's a shadow of a doubt. You can test in a lab, you can do whatever scientific method and all that stuff. You cannot hold this to a scientific method because you cannot prove it because it's the past. You can't redo evolution, you can't redo the Big Bang, you can't prove it to be true. And unless you do, it's just as much a theory as from the atheist point of view, the Bible's creation story is. So here's what the conclusion should be from all this. You have your story in the Bible, atheists believe is all bunk. So, and vice versa. The religious people might believe, let's just say that's true. Just for argument's sake, let's say the religious people will say that the science theories, the theories from the scientists rather, are all bunk. Let's just say. They should be able to just respect each other's views. What is the purpose? That's the question ultimately at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. What is the purpose for believing the Big Bang and evolution? Whatever purpose the purpose is, if it serves a good purpose and does good for you, that's great. And whatever the purpose is for believing in the Bible that serves a good purpose that does good, then great. That should be understood and respected amongst each other. These things clearly do something for people. What it does and all that, if it serves a greater good, that has to be sorted out, figured out, and dealt with like that. To have these arguments though back and forth doesn't do anything. Like, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. It's like you guys are just going nuts for nothing. And ultimately speaking, these are just theories. These are just things you cannot prove. It's impossible to prove them. You can believe as a religious person it's from God, and I believe in God, and I have faith in God, and I trust that God gave the Bible, and this is in the Bible, and it's from God, so therefore it's 100% true. But you can't prove it though. So you have to understand that from an atheist standpoint, it's some theory that's probably just some myth or made up or whatever. However, if we all believe in forwarding a civilized, respectful, decent society, we have to learn to respect each other's views, whatever they are, and understand things for what they are. Understand a theory is a theory, okay? A belief is a belief. That's what's going on here. And when someone were to argue with a religious person and say, here's a scientific, factual evidence-based, blah, 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 about this and that, I'm here to put a stop to that and say, no, it's not. You cannot prove it. It is impossible to prove unless you get a time machine and you go back in time and you see what's actually happening through the Big Bang and through evolution, all that stuff. You just don't know. Even if you find all the pieces to the evolution, you still don't know. You're theorizing. That's what it is. Even if it makes the most sense. I concluded that all this makes sense when I was a secular, when I was an atheist. I believed all this made the most sense and must be the case and all that stuff. Then I realized, we still can't really know. I was being intellectually honest with myself. And that's still the truth from then till now. I'm not an atheist anymore, but that never changed. You still can't really know. And I'm more leaning to believing the religious thing, which I'll still say, you cannot really know. You can believe it, and it serves a good purpose, and we got to go with that. And let's have the conversation, speaking about the purposes things serve, and not arguing whether or not the Big Bang Theory is real or the creation story is real. And it's just not productive if you can't do anything with it. You can't prove anything from it. It's just butting heads for nothing and causing people to disbelieve and actually disrespect other people for nothing. It's disrespecting other people, and all of a sudden you're just having people take your side and getting them to be divisive to their family or whatever it is. It's not decent. It's not proper, and I don't see a use for it. Not that there isn't any use for these things in other areas. Just the arguing on it just doesn't seem productive. Anyhow, that's all I got for that. All the best, and thanks for watching.